putting backpack cameras on beetles. I'm Tonya Hall, and joining me is Vikram Iyer, PhD student at the University of Washington. Welcome, Vikram.
Hi, Tanya. Yeah, great to be here.
So, in what areas does your research focus?
Yeah, so my research is very broadly focused on wireless technologies. So that's wireless power, wireless communication, and most recently that's been building these really small sensors that we can put on things like insects and really small robots.
In fact, you just put a wireless video camera on the back of a bug. Tell us about that project.
Yeah, so in this project, we show that we can make a completely wireless camera that can fit on the back of a little beetle, or also for similarly sized small robots that can stream video directly to your smartphone.
So, what are the specs of the camera? How is it powered? What's the resolution, frame rate, and field of view?
hmm Yeah, so there are a lot of challenges with shrinking a camera down to be this small. Because if you think about the cameras that are in your phone, the chips aren't very big, but there's still a lot of processing and a large battery that goes with that. So what we did here was we use an image sensor with a resolution of about 160 by 120 is what we're streaming at a rate of about 5 frames per second. And that's powered by a really small lithium battery.
You mentioned a stream to a smartphone.
Yep.
Uh, can you view the video in real time?
Yeah, the video shows up in real time.
What a burden does the camera place on the insect?
One of our goals with this was to make it not just small, but also really lightweight so that it can be carried by live insects. One of the cool things about that is, if you look at what live animals can do, they can walk around for much longer than we can build robots. And so the idea here was to see if we could piggyback on that and build something, again, that's small and light enough that they could carry. So the total weight of this is about half a gram, or think about half the weight of a paperclip or something like that.
How did natural insect vision inspire your design?
Yeah, so if you think about how insect eyes work, a lot of times their eyes they're pretty big, and they also consume a lot of the animal's energy, sometimes like 10%. And so they've had to make these careful trade-offs in evolution to be able to see in their small size. And one of the things that a lot of insects do is they have certain parts of their eyes that are more sensitive than others. And then they can move their head to focus on different parts of a scene. And we take that same approach by mounting our small camera at the end of this little actuator that can pan the camera to the left and right.
You also mentioned mounting the camera on a robot bug. Tell us about that.
Mhm. Yeah, so in addition to showing that we can enable these completely new applications, like, first-person view from the back of an insect, which is useful for all kinds of things like studying biology or like these kind of hybrid insect-robot things, we also showed that for the first time we can really push vision, which is something that's common on all kinds of larger robots, like think autonomous cars and drones, to this really small size, about the size of a penny.
What are some of the use cases you mentioned or alluded to that you envision for the backpack bug camera?
Yeah, so to start with small robots, it would be really useful to build robots that can go into like confined spaces and things. And so that's one of the advantages of being small. But another advantage is, if you can make something that can ride on the back of a live insect, suddenly you've got this computing platform that can or computing and sensing platform that can move around, like I said, for hours. You could think of interesting scenarios like sensing things on farms, or also in the future, if we could do things like tap into some of their own senses, like say their neural signals and senses of smell that are often much better than the sensors we can build, there are other kinds of new applications we could explore.
Okay, I have to ask, have you been surprised by anything from a bug's eye view yet?
I mean, for one thing, just like looking at anything from, from the ground level like that, it's just a totally different perspective than we have on the world. And also we took some pictures with our camera of something like a squirrel and a crow, and those things just look absolutely terrifying if you're that tiny, right?
Oh, I imagine. Vikram Iyer, PhD student at the University of Washington. If somebody wants to connect with you, Vikram, maybe they want to understand more about your work. How can they do that?
Sure. The best way is just to reach out via email. My email is bsiyer@uw.edu.
And thanks again for your time, Vikram.
Yeah, thanks. It was great talking to you.
Absolutely. And find more of my interviews right here or at tonyahall.net. Thanks for watching.